Hi, I'm Cliff Hildreth. You know, there's a great saying in the real estate business: to succeed in life, you want to be the first child, the second spouse, and the third realtor. And like with most sayings, there's some truth in that statement, as agents who pick up many listings after sellers have made mistakes will attest. Common knowledge dictates that if a home doesn't sell, there must be something wrong with it. Well, that's a true statement. In a market that's moving, there is something wrong with a house that doesn't sell. But contrary to popular belief, it's not necessarily a bad location or poor condition. The number one reason why an otherwise attractive home does not sell is price, and homes that are grossly overpriced often never sell at all. Well, why? Well, it's simple: because home buyers don't make offers on them. When the average seller sits down to interview real estate agents, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement over choosing a sales price. More money means more financial opportunities for the homeowner. Perhaps it means the seller can afford to buy a more expensive home, help pay for a child's college education, or even take that greatly overdue vacation. Unfortunately, uninformed sellers often choose the listing agent who suggests the highest list price, which can be one of the worst mistakes a seller can make. It's called buying a listing. Buying a listing is where an agent purposely suggests a high listing price that he or she knows they won't get, but that of course the sellers are happy to hear about. Then when the property doesn't sell and the price has to be reduced 1, 2, maybe even 3 times, wasting the seller's time, the agent has still taken the listing from the other agent who would have priced it properly the first time and gotten it sold quicker, and perhaps at a higher price than it eventually sells for. It rarely ends up good for the homeowner because it's done in the agent's best interest, not in the seller's. I know it sounds strange, but the truth is it doesn't really matter how much money you think your home's worth. Nor does it matter what your agent thinks or 10 agents think. The person whose opinion matters is the buyer or buyers who make the offer ultimately. Pricing homes is part art and part science. It involves comparing similar properties, making adjustments for the differences among them, tracking market movements, and taking stock of present inventory, all in an attempt to come up with a range of value, an educated opinion. And to get it right, you need someone that does this every day. You need a good real estate agent. This method is the same way an appraiser evaluates a home, and no two appraisals are ever exactly the same. However, they are generally close to each other. In other words, there's no hard and fast price tag to slap on your home. It's only an educated estimation, and the market will actually dictate the final price. The simple thing is that homes sell at a price a buyer is willing to pay and a seller is willing to accept. If a home is priced too low, priced under the competition, the seller should receive multiple offers to drive up the price to market value. So there's actually less danger in pricing a home too low. The real danger lies in pricing it too high and selecting your agent solely based on their opinion of value. There are a few reasons why this happens. 1. Buyers don't want to offend the seller. It goes against human nature to offer substantially less than the asking price to a seller. It can be insulting to the seller and ultimately embarrassing to the buyer. Number 2. Buyers wrongly believe that the seller knows the home is overpriced. They believe that if the seller would be willing to sell for less, the seller would simply lower the price. And 3. Buyers also assume that the seller must have turned down lower offers from other buyers because surely someone, somewhere along the line, had offered a reasonable price to the seller. But many times, there are no offers at all. The question is, how much money have those overpriced listings cost the sellers? The financial loss often exceeds the extra mortgage payments paid and goes beyond the uncompensated hassle factor of trying to keep the home spotless during showings, not being in a new home, building equity there, and just the frustration of not knowing when you can move forward. It affects the value that a buyer ultimately chooses to pay also, because it's not a fresh listing anymore. It's now stale, dated, what we call a market-worn home that's been overpriced for too long, and as I mentioned before, buyers start to think there must be something wrong with it. In a vibrant market, buyers are excited and anxious to buy a new home, but they're not foolish. Few are willing to pay more than the fair market value, and start out being underwater on their home's value compared to the rest of the neighborhood. So, don't let this happen to you. Give me a call or shoot me an email. Let's sit down and discuss the true value of your home and how we can get it sold at the highest price and in the shortest amount of time in the current market. Thanks so much for watching. Together, we can make it happen.